Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Carpe Diem Living, the podcast. I'm your host, Shane Gitmed, and this has been so funny. So Scott and I, who's the guest on our show today, we've just been really diving deep into the topics that we're going to talk about today. And he was like, we should record this. I'm like, absolutely, like before we let it all go. So Scott, thank you again for coming onto the show. And please tell us on, your journey, your family's journey with holistic health.
For sure. Thanks so much for having me on the show. It's been great for the pre-recording, if you will.
Yeah.
It was really good because we're both obviously very passionate about natural wellness and obviously self-directed healthcare, as I like to call it, because it is truly self-directed when you start researching and start finding your way, as we call it with Dr. Google, Dr. Facebook. And it's literally finding the good, the bad, and the ugly, and what resonates with you and what's working with your body. And what your body absorbs and how your body absorbs is very different from someone else's absorbs. So how you figure that out and piece these things together, it is part of the school, part of the journey, part of the exciting, scary, emotional life that we live. Like it's just phenomenal that we have this amazing opportunity. We just need to find the right tools, really. Right?
No, it's totally true. And we were talking about, especially with the show Unwell, on how, I mean, first of all, we know just because it's on Netflix doesn't mean it's true. It doesn't mean that they have your best interest at heart, right? And especially with all the controversial things that are going on over there, which we're not even going to cover that aspect of it. But with the show Unwell, the reason why it really grinded my gears when I watched even episode 1 about essential oils is because if you know anything about essential oils, you know how amazing it is. You know the difference it can make within your health and in your home. So the fact that they were trying to delegitimize it by saying it's unsafe to consume, unsafe to do all the things that it's actually meant to do, was just like, what are they thinking? Like, who are these so-called specialists that are talking about this? I just don't understand. So Scott has a lot more information on essential oils and how to use them in more ways than one, like diffusing it. So Scott, tell us about how within your family you guys use essential oils and why you love it so much.
For sure. It actually became part of our journey. But our journey was kind of different and emotional and scary, all the same as I was saying earlier. Is my wife Andrea is an ultrasound technician, and she's been one for many, many, many years. And she was going through some different symptoms and ailments that were not normal. If you say it's in the ultrasound world, where you'd have, they call it ultrasound shoulder, where your shoulder and your neck, because you're in weird positions for long period of times, they usually get that bunged up with muscles, and they have chiropractor issues and all this sort of fun stuff. But then it became with fogginess, headaches, migraines, sore joints, to the point where she was walking up the stairs like she was 150 years old. Here's a step, wait a minute, then go up the next step. And this is when she was 41 years old. Like, this is a problem. And we start looking at these sort of things, and you start seeing your normal practitioners as we go down the line. And I'm not saying we don't need to go see our practitioners, we do. But what we need to do is have integrated medicine and integrated conversations to a much bigger picture than what we currently have in society. That is huge. And we're starting to see this shift now over the past probably 4 or 5 years, more so now in the past year, especially in 2020 with all the fun stuff we're dealing with. But when you start going through this sort of stuff where you have nerve pain to the point where, do you know when you sleep on your arm and then it's coming out, but it's like super painful for like 20 seconds?
Oh, yeah.
That was my wife's entire body, from head to toe. So when you start going to your different modalities and your practitioners, neurologists, CAT scans, MRIs, blood work, down the list, they start prescribing right away, and they start layering these things in your body, which then has a reverse effect and a bad effect of all the side effects that are happening in your gut health, which is your second brain, as we all know. And that there becomes a huge problem, because now you're really masking all the symptoms and the ailments are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And when that happens, your body goes into fight or flight mode. When your body goes into fight or flight mode, it's no longer in a position to heal itself. And our bodies are designed to heal itself. A lot of people don't believe this. They don't understand this. They don't even know this.
Right.
Our bodies are made to heal itself. Simple, crazy. As my son, and at the time he was very young, he goes, yeah, so when like I cut my finger, it automatically heals itself. I go, exactly. So now he's 11. He's obviously much more in tune with life and essential oils and all of our natural wellness stuff that we do every day. But it really gets down to that level is you cut your finger, it heals itself. So inside, as long as we're giving our body the right tools, natural tools, our body will be in a position to heal itself. And it took us about 6 years to figure that out because our doctors were obviously getting us going all over the place. And then we found out one is inflammation. We're going to get to the essential oils part, but with the inflammation part in our body, a lot of people don't realize that 70 to 75% of ailments in North America are from inflammation in our body. Like that is super important. We need to understand that and get that in our brain. That's at the basic level of the food we eat, the type of water we drink. We were just talking about this before pre-show, is these things matter, right? You could be drinking some water that could not be so good for you, and you think you're hydrating yourself, and you're actually not. You could have 10 glasses of water, but it's not hydrating you.
Yes.
Right?
We call it dead water.
Yeah, dead water. It's a thing. You would have told me that 10 years ago, I would have thought you were crazy. But it is real. So when you're dealing with things and issues and health issues, you need to really get to the root problems and deal with inflammation, reduce that, because that's the first layer of the onion, literally. As soon as you get to that, you can actually start pinpointing different things in your body that's happening. And that's what was happening in our life. Once we got to that level, and we found this amazing book, actually. It's called, by Dr. Amy Myers, The Autoimmune Solutions, right? And it's not that she had an autoimmune issue. She had an inflammation issue. And by following these basic things, which it's not like it's a diet, because if you go on the keto diet or this diet, it's a diet. It's not a lifestyle, right? The keto diet is not sustainable for the next 50 years. Right. It's just not sustainable. And then people push you towards, like we had nutritionists saying, well, you got to go vegetarian. Oh, you got to go vegan. When we did that, my wife got worse. It was actually killing her. Right? So when we say that everyone's body is different, it truly is. You need to figure out what works, what's not, and you need to create this health binder to go, I'm doing these things. This is how I feel. And if you look back at these, it's going to show you some patterns. And once we figured out these patterns, it's like, holy crap, this is cool.
Yeah.
And that's how the white light really started getting bigger, because we started finding some success. We started climbing the slow stairs a little bit faster and faster. And then we found, it's funny because we talked about teeth, right? Many people don't understand, and I was one of them as well. Your teeth are your breakers to your body. This is how we were introduced to essential oils originally, is through teeth. They're like, people are like, what the heck are you talking about?
Yeah, what's going on there?
Yeah. So there's an amazing documentary called The Root Cause, right? It has to do with the root canals. It's only on YouTube now because they pulled it off of Netflix because the Dental Association was getting into some trouble, right? So write that one down, people. The Root Cause. If you're dealing with weird stuff in your body and you don't know really what it is, ask yourself, do I have a root canal? If you have, go get it checked out, because going through this documentary, when you have a root canal, they pull the roots, obviously the tooth comes out, the root comes out, and they put a screw in. What they don't really tell you in detail, or at all in a lot of cases, is that they leave a little gap at the end of that screw that's in your mouth. Think about that. It's warm, it's moist, and there's a hole that's in your jaw all the time. What do you think is going to grow? Bad bacteria, right?
Ouch.
We did not know this for 6 years. So when doing our research, we came across this documentary. Then we actually found out that there's actually a proper scan, like a cone, it's called a cone scan, that will actually basically show you bacteria that's growing in certain sections in your mouth. Lo and behold, the 2 root canals she had done were actually infected. But we saw 3 different dentists, 3 different types of x-rays, weren't showing anything. But she knew in her body something was wrong.
Right.
Keep on digging, people. Keep on digging. So we found this. We get this cone scan. We then have to find a holistic dentist. What the heck's a holistic dentist?
I've never even knew we had those.
Exactly.
Wow.
Either did I. So what do? Good old Dr. Google, holistic dentist near me. Enter. It's actually a thing. It's like, wow, okay, cool. So we start talking to these people. We have to get it removed or extracted in a specific way. So you don't want all that bacteria going back into your body. We had the teeth extracted, and then the size of the bacteria was the size of my pinky nail that was lodged in her jaw, which was all bacteria. Right? In this documentary, which will blow all the women that are listening, which still blows my mind, is that women that have breast cancer, over 70% of the women that have breast cancer have a root canal on the same side as the breast.
Stop.
Over 70% people. For real.
Oh my goodness. I'm mind blown right now. Like, that's a crazy statistic.
It is mind blowing. So I have, in our holistic circle that we have, which is fairly large now, we talk a lot about these things as your teeth are your breakers to your body, and they actually do, I don't want to say run your organs, but they are very, very connected. Because funny enough, with all the tests we were doing, all of them told us that my wife's liver was not functioning properly. It wasn't detoxing, it was shutting down. Guess what 2 teeth are connected to her liver? Those 2 teeth that we had extracted.
Really?
Absolutely. We had them extracted within a month. What do you think is happening to her liver? It's starting to function properly. It's starting to recover and detox by itself.
Oh my gosh, you make me want to go check out my teeth.
If you have root canals, check them out. If you're dealing with weird, wacky stuff, I'm serious. Go check it out. Watch the documentary, The Root Cause. Right? Then once this was done, we were introduced to essential oils. And with all these side effects that I was telling you about, with joint pain, inflammation, being able to walk up the stairs, pressure, migraines, all these things, once the teeth were removed, a lot of the pressure was gone. The headaches were reduced by like 80%. The swelling in the back of her neck was down by like 80%. Right? So we started to see some more progress. Then we came across essential oils from a good friend of mine, Tamara, and I'm like, get this crap out of here. Because at the time, we were just so like, oh my God, we're exhausted.
Yeah.
And you just don't want to try anything like that because what the heck's an essential oil going to do? And this is where, when you're talking about that show, Cured, is the thing that they're mentioning, what they should have been mentioning, is that not all essential oils are created equal. Right? And that is a true statement, right? If you buy, give you an example, peppermint essential oil from Walgreens or Walmart or
random supplier on Amazon
or Amazon, which is like, hello, don't do that.
Yeah.
These are the sort of things that need to throw out there in precautions because people don't understand the back part of labels, right? If you turn the label around and read the back of things before you buy it, you're going to be much more in tune on what you're putting in your body, not only what you actually breathe aromatically or what you put on your skin or take internally. These are all important, right? So when you start looking at essential oils, we didn't know that at the time. We were lucky enough that we started with doTERRA, and so we were okay there, but we did not know that at the time, and neither did I, because I knew nothing about essential oils until there's a moment which really pivoted us into, when I say the holistic rabbit hole, we went down there because of what was happening in our life. And we used essential oils aromatically for probably about 2 months because they smelled pretty. Because that's what people think that they do. They just smell pretty. They don't understand that a lavender candle and a diffuser with lavender oil are 2 different things.
Right.
They are very different. Yeah. One is 100% chemical and one is pure medicine. Literally, it will help support your body, right? I did not know that either, right? I loved candles. I don't have a candle in my house now. You couldn't pay me to put one in my house, right? Because I know what it is. So when we went through this, it was, I've worked for myself for 18 years. I've had my own business, I have many staff, very busy. 11:30 at night, I'm shutting her down. I'm watching a movie, right? My
Night owl here too. I get it.
Right? So my wife is detoxing, having an Epsom salt bath, and she's up there reading a book. I hear some crying. I'm like, that's weird. So I'm checking our two kids, Ryan and Caitlin. I'm like, okay, the heck? So I go into our bedroom, and my wife is in fetal position at the end of her bed, bawling in pain. I'm like, what in the heck is going on? And this is right at the point where we were introduced to essential oils. I'm not sure what was going on. She was just in a bath. We didn't put any oils on her that day, whatever. I'm like, okay, weird. So I'm like, are you okay? She's like, give me a second. I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, every second matters. Like my brain's just going mile a minute and everything's happening in slow motion. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay, I'll give you a second. Then I see this carrier oil bottle beside our bed table. It was kind of similar to this here. And I'm like, okay, so I remember her using lemongrass like a week ago. So I was like, okay, I'll grab lemongrass and lavender. And I remember lemongrass would be good for nerve pain. So like, okay, we'll try that. So I grab the carrier oil bottle, I squish it into my hand. It goes all over me, all over the floor. I'm like, oh, are you kidding me? All right. And so I put the lemongrass, I put a few drops of that, a few drops of lavender, I'm putting it on her stomach. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, are you okay? I'm going to call 911. Like, this is just like, we're 10 minutes away from the hospital to be here in a few minutes. Like, we'll just get there. She goes, give me a second. So about 45 seconds, a minute goes by. She sits up. I'm like, what the heck? I go, are you okay? She's like, I think so. I go, well, I can drive you to the hospital versus now taking the ambulance. And she's like, no, just give me a second. So I'm a little bit of a jokester. And I'm like, so did you too? And she's like, no, why would you say that? I'm like, I don't know. It could have been gas pains. What the heck, man? Right? So at that moment, I was kind of like, so what happened? It wasn't gas pains. Was it stones? What was it? Did the oils do something? Maybe they didn't. Maybe they did. So I started drilling her with questions of like, how does this work in your body? Knowing that her background is biology and science, she gets this stuff. Me, way back then, didn't understand any of this. And she's like, well, what oils did you put on me? So I told her. She's like, well, maybe it helped with nerve pain that I was having or something like that. And then I'm thinking, so wait a second, you saying essential oils can help with nerve pain and stuff like that? She goes, yeah. And I go, but you're taking all these medications to help with that. Why do you need that if you could do this? And we started having that quick conversation. That was my aha moment. I was like, are you kidding me? Are you telling me that I can support our family and our bodies naturally without medication in these instances, right? And I'm not saying essential oils are going to cure you people. What I'm saying is our body naturally wants natural things. So let's give it what it wants to let it heal itself. Right. Big difference, right? As long as they're pure essential oils and not the crappy stuff that you get off the street or Amazon and this other stuff, there's some good possibilities you can actually help support your health. I'm like, interesting. So I built myself a website for me. It wasn't public. It was just for me. I took all the different products, all the different things on how they work in the body, and I started researching. I researched the crap out of them because I found a way to keep my wife out of the hospital for one night. I'm like, this is the ticket. I go, we're gonna implement this literally starting tomorrow. So then I started finding about all these other essential oils. I went to the healthy store. They had essential oils. I didn't know any better. So I asked them about peppermint essential oil because I love the smell of peppermint. That's just me. Like I always have my peppermint rollerball everywhere. But anyways,
that is lavender for me.
So I was asking her because I knew enough about peppermint to really talk about it. So she's like, yeah, peppermint essential oil, it's only for aromatic. I'm like, aromatic? I mean, I can only put it in a diffuser. And I was being kind of sarcastic in a way. She's like, yeah. I go, but wait a second. I said, I take peppermint internally to help support my digestion, keep my body temperature down, help support head tension and stuff like that. She's like, oh, no, that's very dangerous. I'm like, why is it dangerous? And she's like, oh, because they have things in them. I'm like, what do you mean things in them? So I'm like, can I see your bottle for a second? I'm opening it up. She said, yeah, aromatic only. So I'm like, so are you telling me that these have fillers, synthetics, and pesticides in them? She goes, I'm not allowed to say that, but they have other things in them. So I was like, oh, okay. I started more research. So lo and behold, over 95% of the essential oil industry, 95% are diluted. They have fillers, synthetics, and pesticides in them. Why are they doing this? Because it's about money. So if you think about that, if you're actually using essential oils and you do not know the history of how they're distilled, how they're made, and what's in them, you need to stop using them and get educated. Because if you're dealing with stuff and a thing and ailments, you're adding more chemicals into your body for your body to detox.
Right.
You need to understand this. Your body is already fighting. Your body's in fight or flight mode. When it is, it doesn't have that much room left in the bottle to put more in it. If it does, your immune system's just going to be suffocated and you're going to get more problems coming into your body system, right? So once we started doing that, we started peeling those layers back, we started doing protocols every day with oils, topically, aromatically, and internally, safely, because we knew what we needed to do. And we started talking to many different healers around the world, literally, to start feeling what we needed to do. Once we started doing that, I'm knocking on wood, 4 years later, which is now, we're 100% medication free.
Oh.
We're 100% chemical free. And she's been off meds. We're on bike rides. We're playing badminton yesterday. We're walking, running upstairs. Like, this is what we're talking about when it comes to natural health and reducing chemical and toxic load in your body and getting results naturally. This is what's required. Like, and don't be afraid to ask questions, right? That is why, like Shane, your journey alone, you have these stories as well, right? We have our stories. This is why we're doing what we're doing, to share our story, to empower you to do the same. We don't want you in the clinics. We don't want you in the hospital. 80% of ailments can be prevented your own way with food, water, essential oils, right? It is huge. This is what we need. So once we started going down this tunnel, we started finding that wellness is we're getting better. Like, it's now a livable life. And I say that with a smile because it wasn't livable before. Right. And it affects the whole family. Right.
And when you're in that, you think that this is a life sentence. Sometimes you think, oh, once I'm diagnosed with this, this, and this, that's it. I just have to maintain it till the end. And that's where the deconditioning comes into play, right?
Absolutely.
Knowing that your body can heal. Because I remember even for myself, when I was researching like psoriasis, right? Mm-hmm. One of the first things it says is it's your body attacking itself. Yeah. And I the first time, this is before I really knew anything holistic related. And that actually put me in like a depressive like mood. I was like, my body's attacking itself. I was like, what is going on? I'm like, but why? Like, I just had so many questions. And I have friends in, the medical field. And now that they're starting to see that, cleansing, naturally and doing all that is actually working. Now they're almost questioning, like, why am I working as, in the Western medicine field when I know now that it's not actually the way to go, especially when it comes to healing things. Like, we know Western medicine is good for surgeries, like broken limbs, things like that.
Absolutely.
But when
we need Western medicine for that, right? That is what Western medicine is designed for, right? If we take all the load off of them, of all the sniffles and all these weird things that people go in for, what do you think is going to happen when you have something really important that needs done?
Right.
It's going to be happening like this. So the people that are really needing it, they're going to get it done within a week versus a year, right? It's going to take that load off the system and we're going to have healthier people, right? You're going to feel better, right? That's what life's all about. And we need more of it. Like, it is huge.
Right. And I realized the most about essential oils when I was speaking to another guest, where it helped her with her emotional disordered eating, how grapefruit helps like curb the appetite, something along those lines. And so that's where I really got fascinated. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I kind of almost want my own like reference book, like, hey, I'm feeling this. Can I just, what do I need today? Like she told me that her essential oils is her medicine cabinet. to
It
use
is.
nothing else. And same for me. Like, I do not take any medication. My son does not take any medication. I was telling you about my dog earlier, how he
Yep.
was prescribed gabapentin for pain. I said, absolutely not. Especially like this is where it was so contradicting is he was having liver problems, supposedly. Like, they said his liver levels were 10 times worse. So why would you give him a hard prescription knowing that it's only going to mess with his organs more? So how is he really going to heal if he's about to take that? So that's where, now that I'm so used to the holistic mindset of like, this is not the way to go, I always question anytime I'm told something about medication. I'm like, that just does not make sense. And I'm not just going to be a sheep and follow that.
Absolutely. Don't be a sheepling. It doesn't help anybody, right? It's the easy way out. It's the easy thing to do, but it doesn't help you, right? Without you, you're what's left, right? You need to really take care of yourself and understand what's going on. And another big part of that is trying to figure out what was going on, where a lot of the journey we were on, the big thing was fatigue, right? So when your body is in fight or flight mode for that long, in 1 year, she was on 9 different antibiotics in 9 months. That's insane. Like, who in their right mind doctor would actually do that to a person trying to figure out what was going on? Like, it caused leaky gut and all these sort of, it was just, anyways, so we're going down that tunnel. And when your body starts to come back out of it, you're still fatigued and stuff like that. And what we found, which this may blow your mind, how much do you know about EMFs?
EMFs, I don't know enough. So please enlighten me.
So EMFs play a huge part in our body and how we deal with things, right? EMFs, some people don't understand what EMFs are. It's radiation, right? So you have 2 types of radiation. You have man-made, then you have natural radiation, kind of like the Earth's frequency, right? One's good, one's bad. So to give you a picture of the amount of radiation that's around us on a day-to-day basis, I have a laptop right here in front of me. I have a 29-inch monitor in front of me. I have a web camera. I got a light, right? I have a diffuser beside me. I have a 29-inch iMac right here. I got my phone. I have a big bay window right beside me. And I have a bunch of electrical stuff, right? All of this is radiation, okay? Now picture this is I get rid of all these items out of my office, right? Am I still being dosed with radiation and EMFs? The answer is yes, because we have Wi-Fi, we have electrical outlets, and we have the cell towers outside. I did not know this until about 2 years ago. The amount of effects of EMFs on our body will blow your mind. Like, blow your mind. Give you an example. And everyone can do this at home because most people that listen to this is going to have a mobile phone, right? Or an iPad or whatever it may be. Any kind of mobile device, go into the settings and go into the settings to where it says radiation, which there has to be a section according to the FDA. It will tell you that the phone must be 10 to 15 millimeters away from your head to pass the FDA approval. So that means people need to talk like this. If not, the amount of radiation, if you talk like this, doesn't pass the test. So on a 3-minute phone call, if the phone is to your left ear, the radiation goes to the inside left part of your eye. That's direct radiation from our mobile devices. Here's a little part that's going to blow your mind a little bit more, right? On a child under the age of 18, the thickness of their skull versus an adult, is it different? Absolutely. On that exact same, because they don't do testing on kids with phones, right? On that exact same phone call, 3 minutes, left ear, the radiation goes to the outside of their right eye in a 3-minute phone call. How many people do you know on the age of 18 have a mobile device that have phone calls more than 3 minutes?
Too many.
You wonder why ADD, ADHD, cancer, all these things have gone through the roof since mobile phones, right? That's just one part of it, right? What does radiation do to your body, right? radiation and EMFs take the oxygen out of your blood. What does that mean? What does your immune system survive off of? Oxygen. Like, hello, right? So if you think about that, you're always like out of breath, you're always tired, lethargic, focus is an issue, all these things. Think about EMF stuff going around in your world, right? We were so blown away. Have you ever heard of a live blood test analysis? Have you ever heard of that? A live blood test analysis?
For me, no, I've never, no.
So a live blood test analysis will blow your mind. So what it is you prick your finger. So you're going to go into this special lab. They prick your finger. They put it into a slide, which goes into a microscope that has a big HD camera coming out of the top of it. You get to see your blood live on screen. You get to see it stacked up, moving slowly. You can see parasites. You can see bacteria. You can see your immune system. You can see digestive proteins. You can see crystallization. You can see if you're hydrated or not, if you're low on iron and all this sort of wonderful, amazing stuff. Right?
Wow.
They could physically see at the cellular level that you have EMF damage and poisoning in your body. It looks like a bottle cap and it looks like a stacked worm as well. There's two signs of it.
Oh my God.
Right? So the amount of radiation that we were getting when we did this was like, oh my God. It was like,
through the roof.
Oh. It was through the roof, right? So what we found just under 2 years ago was a company that adds frequencies into products. And I was like, what? What the heck does that have to do with anything?
Yeah.
So same thing with essential oils. I was kind of like, get this crap out of here. It's not going to do anything. Like, we're talking about EMFs here, bud. Right? It was kind of a weird conversation. Lo and behold, the research that we did, our body are vibrational beings. We know this, right? How do we know this for the people that don't know? So if you're having a heart attack, whatever it may be, what's the first thing they do when you're on the table? They get two paddles, they put them to your chest, and they shock you. They put electricity, frequencies, vibration into your body. Mm-hmm. Right? Each organs have different frequencies, which is all good. But what we now know is that frequencies can help us, right? Frequency sounds, frequency. If you go to the water, right? If you go way out of the city, and you go way up north and you're in the trees and stuff like that where you don't have a phone signal, do you feel better? Do you feel more energized? Do you feel more focused? Of course you do.
Right.
People don't tie that to the EMFs because they don't know what the difference is. They're excited that they're on a vacation. That only lasts in our body for the first day or two. Past that, it's your body adjusting to the natural Earth's frequency and getting out of the EMF distortion, and our protons are starting to realign in the same direction.
Wow. You have so many mind-blowing things, I swear. Like, I could just pick your brain with all the, like, these are things I've never heard from anyone else. So I have to ask, since we are on the topic of radiation, do you believe in the radiation blockers, like the stickers you can put on devices that seem to be going around these days? And personally, I actually got some for my household just because I was like, oh, if this is going to help with radiation, but I'm curious to get your perspective on those. So
let's talk about the stickers from a realistic point of view. Where are you putting the stickers?
So just on the physical device itself. So okay. I just put it like under my laptop.
So let's say we have it on our phone. Okay. I obviously don't have a sticker, and I'm going to explain why. Right? If you put the sticker on your phone, and I throw my phone across the street into the next house, am I still getting EMF radiation?
I think so. Well,
think about it. If I don't have my phone and it's across the street, do I still have cell towers around me? Do I still have Wi-Fi in my house?
Yes.
Right? What is a sticker going to do to the back of the phone other than maybe, because 95% of those is just marketing jumble and they don't do squat. They're protecting your phone. They're not protecting you. Right? So what are you going to do? Put stickers across everything and put stickers all over you? It's not, right? It's not realistic.
Yeah.
None of that is, if you have your phone where a lot of the women put it into their bra strap or in their back pocket or in their front pocket, or they have it in their purse, whatever it may be, the EMF can bounce off the sticker and go where?
Okay.
To you.
Yeah, okay. Got
right?
it.
So it's
Yeah.
a marketing, once again, it's a marketing ploy, which would make sense. But the most important thing we need to protect is what? Us.
Right.
The host. That's us.
Yeah.
Right? So with this person, that's why I was so intrigued, because we were looking at all these stickers, these little domes, these special rocks, and all these sort of things, but if I leave my house and I go into the airport, the amount of radiation in airports is insane, because it's full of electronics, right? Which is okay, but we haven't really measured what EMFs do onto our body. Go to YouTube, type in EMF radiation, EMF poisoning, EMF damage to the body, you name it. Watch what happens, right? And we're not even talking about 5G, 4G, or anything like that. There's a lot of controversy and conspiracy theories with 5G. Throw it out the window. I don't care, right? Oh, coronavirus and 5G, they're related. Who cares, right? You have a virus, you have the flu, you have 5G, you have 4G. They're all things. Okay, fine, right? We need to talk about boosting our immune system and protecting ourselves from EMFs. How do we do that? We need to combat it with frequencies, because that is what that is, right? So what this guy does is he adds frequencies to jewelry. So he's built this custom built machine that costs $10 million, and he adds frequencies to different products that resonates. The core product line is the Schumann resonance. What is the Schumann resonance? The Schumann resonance is the natural Earth's frequency. Even though it does this, it's the baseline of the Earth's frequency. How did that happen? Lightning hits the Earth constantly, right? Nikola Tesla, the famous scientist from way back in the day, has coined this Schumann resonance. Our body naturally vibrates. The core frequency is the Schumann resonance. So if we can put that onto our body, what it's doing is it's protecting our protons in our cells at the cellular level from all this EMF distortion, right? Once that happened, your protons are all over the place. It's now pointing in the same direction. It's like when you were way up north out of all the cell towers, it's doing it naturally while you're in the EMF distorted area.
Right? Okay.
So when we did this, I didn't understand it. So what I did is I hired a live blood technician to come to my office. And I'm like, you need to test my blood. She's like, what are you talking about?
I need to do that.
This test. 4.5 hours later, after wearing the products, I did it again. What you will see in the video will blow your mind. The blood was stacked together, moving slowly. You could see tons of parasites, tons of dots, and you can see it right in the video. You can see bacteria, you can see your digestive protein, you can see all these amazing things. But what you see is your blood stacked together, moving slowly, right? After wearing the product, and now our protons are being realigned, therefore oxygen's going to flow, your blood's going to move faster. What happens, right? Can parasites grow in an oxygenated state? They cannot. So what's happening is now your blood's moving faster, your immune system is thriving.
Right.
So if your immune system's thriving and parasites can't grow, your ailments are going to start to
go
disappear.
Down. Yeah.
Right. Right. What was happening? So we bought a couple of bracelets for my wife. The first night, she had to take it off. She had too much energy. She couldn't sleep. And I was like, what? I go, nah, you're crazy, lady. Go to sleep. Right? The next day, she didn't take a nap. That was the first time in 6 years she didn't take a nap.
Wow.
Right? Next day, she was up before me, and she went to bed same time as me. I go to bed around 11:30, 12 every night. Right? That was a huge shift. She started to get more energy. And what started to happen was her eye color started to become more white, right? More energy. Her body aches were reduced by another 30%. Now she's back up to like 90% better, right? This is all from EMF distortion. So I phoned the owner of the company and I said, dude, we need to have a conversation. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, do you understand what you have? Because he's been around for 10 years, but he's a very small company, right? Because it's very healy, feely type people. And this is about a year and a half ago. I spoke with him and I said, I've run my own business for 18 years. I have a very large network in doTERRA. And my best friend is their Canadian founders of doTERRA. And we have a fairly large team of 66,000 people on our team, right? I said, I would love to work with you, partner with you, do something with you to do this. And he goes, well, we're actually looking to partner with some people that have a marketing background and stuff like this. Lo and behold, we bought into his company because of what he's done. And we've totally rebranded the company because it was a disaster because of what it's doing. We now have resellers around the world helping more people, and we've reduced his costs by like a lot, by like 30%.
That's incredible. Oh my gosh.
So like, once again, research it, people. Like these are the things that's going to change your life. So it's amazing on what we can do. The EMFs is a real thing, right? If you believe in 5G or not, take that off the board. I don't care. You still have Wi-Fi in your house, which is 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz. You have 5G cellular network, right, which is 60 hertz. 60 hertz. They use it as a military weapon in the States, people, right? Get this in your head, right?
And then with everyone e-learning right now, like that's the first thing I thought about was everyone that has to work from home, study from home, even like my son's in preschool and he has to e-learn. Like it's just, so when you mentioned the fact of the whole radiation ratio and what it does to kids, like my heart instantly was like, oh my gosh, these poor kids.
Absolutely. So we need to find ways to, like my kids now have these products on. I have them on, my wife has them on, everyone I know has them on. But to give you an idea, it's not about the jewelry, it's what's in the jewelry that matters. That is super important. And you can actually feel it in your hand. And there's tons of testimonials and stuff like that we've done as well. So to the point where I was like, okay, we did a small blood test. I want to do it now on 16 different people. So I hired the technician to come back. And we did it again. Every single person had a huge result in change in their body at the cellular level. And one of the kids, he was 17 years old, and I know for a fact he eats McDonald's and Burger King every day. He doesn't exercise, he's a gamer, and I'm like, perfect, because we want all different types of people to see what's happening in their body. Right. We had an 81-year-old lady that tried it, right? She's now gardening throughout the entire summer, where before she'd be taking 2 naps. She's 81.
Wow. And I always say this with age, it doesn't matter how old or how young you are, you can still function without medication, feel like you're, 18 years old. So I truly, that's why when anyone, like you were saying before, when someone went to the doctor's office and they're asking, what medications are you on? And they're like, none, like, it's almost like, really, so first of all, I need that link from you on where you got those products. Like I'm ordering that the second we get off this call for me and my whole family. There's no way.
You know what I'll do is, I was just on another podcast and I did it for them. So I'll do the same thing for you is, I'll give you a coupon code and for all your listeners, if you want, because it's about helping and saving. If you go to essentialvibes.com, essentialvibes.com, and the coupon code is ScottPodcast20. You'll get 20% off of everything in there.
Amazing.
And that's my gift to you guys.
Oh, that would be incredible because I know a lot of parents are already concerned about the very excessive use of electronics. I hate it too. And it's so hard. It's so hard. Yeah. So I think if there's anything that we can use to help, absolutely.
For sure. Like anxiety is a big one. And I have one particular friend that his testimonial, it almost brings me to tears because of what he was going through. And his name is Jim. And he was diagnosed with extreme anxiety. And they took his license away because he couldn't drive because he was having nervous breakdowns, literally.
Oh, man.
And we did his blood test. He's a little overweight. He smokes a lot. He was stressed. So anyways, we told him not to change anything. Within 8 days, from the Thursday to the following Friday was the second test we did, him wearing 2 bracelets, his anxiety attacks reduced by 80%.
And And it's crazy because we're talking about all of these radiations. Like, I've been an avid laptop electronic user since they were the thing, right? Like when they first came out. So I can only imagine, really, this is why holistic medicine is so great, is because you can go back in time, figure out the root. We always talk about the root. And I would not be surprised if the radiation aspect really affected me from like a long time ago, because I was one of those people that was always on the phone. Sometimes I would sleep with my phone nearby.
Don't do that, people.
I know, this was back in the day. I don't do it anymore, I swear. But nowadays it's like most likely like across the room or not even in the room at all. So that's why I don't like having like a TV on or anything like when I'm sleeping, like no.
And you just hit a really, really, really important point that I want to make sure we rewind a little bit, is because if you have a Wi-Fi router in your house, which 99% of the people in North America do, set it to turn off while you're sleeping. There's a setting and you can schedule it to go off, right? Turn all your devices off, especially in your bedroom. No electronics in your bedroom, right? Your body heals the most when you are sleeping. If you have an electronic device, you're disrupting your nervous system even more, right? This will cause your body not to get into the deep sleep that it needs for your body to self-heal. It's important. Like, don't do it. Your body will thank you. It's super, super important. Like, it's phenomenal. Like, we've developed a product that it's a little bit of a different product. We did it last year because we knew of the amount of radiation that was coming. So I'm going to show you a product just so you can kind of get an idea. This is just one of them. So this here is one product. And the reason why there's different beads on this is because they have different frequencies. So all the lava bead bracelets, the lava beads themselves, yes, it is a lava bead, but what we've imprinted into it is the Schumann resonance. This is the Earth's frequency, okay? The gold color one right above it, that there is the solar frequency, the sun frequency, right? Why do we have the sun frequency? What are EMFs? What are cell towers? How do they work? Cell towers are peer-to-peer, right? It's creating a mesh around the Earth. What did Elon Musk just get approval for this year? How many satellites are now in lower orbit that are pushing out 5G around us? Right? Can the sun rays get through all that stuff? It can, but is it diminished? Absolutely. So we need vitamin D, right? That's why that frequency is in there. The next one, which is silver, it's colloidal silver. If people know about minerals, colloidal silver is your immunity. It boosts your immunity. So we took the frequency of colloidal silver and put that into the bracelet to help with your immunity, right? So you have the natural core frequency, which is Schumann, the sun frequency, and colloidal silver. That's why this one here is so powerful. It's the strongest one that we have, right? We have a typical lava bracelet, which is just a Schumann bracelet. We have nice colorful ones for the ladies. Now, a lot of ladies wear that one. We also deal with a lot of athletes. So we're talking to different sports organizations, because I can't say which ones right now, this is a silicone band, right? And people are like, oh, that's all fake. I agree with you until you crush crystals and see all the dark spots in it. We crush crystals and put them into our silicone mold that can hold the frequency, right? So now for kids, because we know kids, if they wear one of these, it's going to be destroyed in a day.
Oh, yeah, right.
So our kids have two of each of these on, and my daughter actually wears them around her ankles because she's competitive in volleyball. She can't have anything on her wrists, right? So that's what she does, and she puts them around her ankles. So they're safe for all ages. I have a good friend of mine who has a 4-month-old that has a silicone bracelet around his ankle. Put the sock on first, silicone bracelet goes over top of it, because silicone in skin with sweat will create a rash, right? We know this from just whatever.
Yeah.
That's how we can actually protect our children, right? So there's lots of different ways to do that. We need to, once again, think about education, self-education, and protect ourselves from the ailments. Reduce our toxic load as much as possible, reduce inflammation, and then from there you should be good.
No, absolutely. I think Oh my gosh, I'm just not at a loss of words in a bad way. I'm just feeling like I got like hit with so much knowledge that is just, I wish I had known this many, many, many years ago. And I think, yeah. And I think now we have to put the emphasis on the radiation poisoning and doing that live blood test. Because I call it like running experiments on myself, but it's not, because it's like, I do want to see like, oh, like what is going on? That's why I think I fell in love with holistic medicine, because the types of tests they run on you would not get at your main doctor's office or anywhere else. And it just goes down to like I said, to the cellular level. So definitely the bracelets, I need to get that for everyone closest to me, because
for sure,
I know that we're all constantly on electronics. And I mean, it sucks because it is the nature of like now how work is. And I mean, for you and I, we've been working on our own for years, but still,
Yeah, that's why the universe talks in weird ways, right? And they introduce things at certain times for a reason. And it was just happened to be at that time 2 years ago when we were introduced to it. It was kind of like, this is right because of what's happening. And this is where 5G was just starting to talk about it. We already knew about 4G. I used to be in IT back in the day, so I have a little bit of experience with radiation and servers and stuff like that with Wi-Fi. So it was kind of like, holy crap, like all those years. And you think about all the doctors and all the nurses, the ultrasound techs, the x-ray techs, the amount of radiation that they're getting every single day, we need to protect them, right? Yeah. Like we need these people to be healthy, but this is a source of information that doesn't get talked about a lot. Right, and it's a real thing. Like there are scientific studies out of Harvard, out of Queens, you name the university, there's tons of studies on EMF radiation, right? It's a level 1 carcinogen. Like it's a real thing, right?
Yeah.
So
I even thought about switching over to an old-fashioned alarm clock just so I can remove, because the main reason why I even have a phone in my room is because of the alarm. But if I get a normal alarm clock, then I could just remove my electronics completely. And then that's one step towards just removing the radiation in the room,
Brilliant. I love it. Do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's
it's a big part. And another big part is, which we didn't really talk about, I know we're probably going over our time,
okay.
is when we talk about toxic loading chemicals, what is the most polluted place in the world? This is a trick question.
Oh, I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't know, to be honest.
Wrong thing. It's conversation. It's
yeah. Most polluted.
You're sitting in it.
I'm sitting in it.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know. This is
your house.
Really? Oh, okay.
Do this as an exercise to all the listeners. I did this with my family when I first starting using essential oils, and the reason is I found that aromatic compounds affect our body on the cellular level. What you put on your skin affect you on the cellular level. Think about what's in your house that you use to clean.
Yep. That's
right?
Why, yep. Mm-hmm.
Think about that. In all the front of the labels, fresh, organic, natural, cleaner, blah, blah, blah. Turn the ball around, right? This was a huge stepping stone in our household to natural wellness because of the amount of toxins and chemicals that we had around us. Think about animals. You have animals, they walk on the floor nonstop. Do they lick themselves? Absolutely, right? Think if you have cats, they're nonstop cleaning themselves. Why now, in the past 20 years, 30 years, the levels of cancer and all these weird things in animals have gone through the roof? Think about the amount of chemicals that we have, that we use around us, right? So use essential oils, vinegar, water, and a couple drops of essential oils. You can change the aroma too, and you're going to get that benefit. And it's better for the environment, it's better for you, and it's cheaper, right? And it's antibacterial.
Yeah, growing up, my mom actually, I remember this, she would even still to this day, she uses vinegar to clean the floors. And I would always ask her, I'm like, Mom, why are you cleaning the floors so complicated? I'm like, just use a Swiffer.
I love her already.
And I would always just be like, oh my gosh, okay, whatever, like that's what you want to do. But now as I'm older and I'm like learning more, I'm like, I get it now. Like all the little things she would tell me about the vinegar, don't sleep with your phone next under your pillow. Cause I did that a couple times in high school and I would get scolded all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's a fire hazard too. Don't do that.
Yeah, I know. Like, especially like what happened with one of the Galaxy phones a couple years ago. But yeah, I've definitely learned as I got older on what not to do and why these little messages were coming out. And lo and behold, they're all very true and it's all health-based. So I like that example that you used because that would save a lot of money in just cleaning supplies for sure. But yeah, I definitely do. Okay. Do you have a guide of like what each essential oil is like for what, like a manual?
I can barely hear you there. Kind of went mute there for a second.
Oh, do you hear me now?
I still can't hear you.
Oh, what about now?
No.
Can you hear me now?
Nope.
Oh, that is so weird. Okay. Let me see if I'm going to.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. What about now?
Nope.
Oh my goodness. Okay, no worries. We can totally edit this out.
I can't hear you.
Yeah, let's see. Can you hear me now?
Nope.
Oh my gosh, Zoom. What happened? Now? Oh. Okay, I paused and unpaused the recording. I don't know if it's making a difference.
Let me reset my side.
Okay. No worries. We can totally edit all this out. Okay, so do you have a manual for essential oils, kind of like a guide on what each of them you could use them for?
So with essential oils, because there's so many different essential oils, what we do as wellness advocates and really help educate people is we need to have a quick 10, 15, typically turns into a 30-minute conversation because it's an information download for me to talk to you going, what are you dealing with? What are you working with? What's around you? And then from there, it's kind of like, okay, so with that, typically you can go into with like a diffuser, kind of like this, like this. And then from there, we're going to go with like the top 10 oils, if you will, which would be like lemon, balance. There's serenity for sleeping, help with your sleep. There's different oils that come within that. And then I kind of go through that with you. Then there's other oils that have more supplements, right? And with supplementation is huge.
Right.
People need to understand we need supplementation in our bodies. Even if you're buying organic, right? Even with organic, there's not enough enzymes in those foods for our body to digest it properly and efficiently to get all the nutrients that you need. So with the right supplementation and the right enzymes, this is part of the conversation. So everything's very, I want to say super customized. There's some generic stuff that you need as a baseline. We have kind of like essential oils 101, if you will, to kind of give you a baseline of how they're made, how they're distilled, why there's no synthetics, fillers, and stuff like that in there because of the therapeutic benefit that we have within them. So yes, I can provide some of those basic tools and information there, but I would probably encourage you to just reach out to me, reach out to you, right? And then we can kind of connect. And then from there, we can kind of self-educate together. And then from there, I can kind of get you started with certain things and we'll kind of go from there. So the essential oil part is really, it's a supplementation, enzymes, probiotics is definitely an important one as well from gut health, which we didn't really go down that rabbit hole, but super important. And then from there you have your essential oils. And if you're dealing with some really interesting ailments, we have some tools and I can show you these tools. Like I have an app on my phone that you can look up the ailment. It'll suggest different protocols, different oils to use and how to use them in a safe way. And we kind of go through that together. And I'll do that for free for you. Like if that's what you want, that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm on this earth for, to help share and to serve others. And that's what we do worldwide now. It's awesome.
I love that. Because at the end of the day, you're changing lives day in and day out. And that's, and I have this quote on my, in my office. It's a decal actually. And it says, live life to the fullest and make a difference along the way. And it's a constant reminder of why we do what we do, especially when it comes to changing lives in the wellness aspect of it all. So I just, oh my gosh, you're just a wealth of knowledge. And I'm just so thankful to have you on this show today. And I know there's so much more we could have covered because it's like there's so much to this, right? So if there's anyone that has any questions, especially when it comes to radiation things, essential oils, Scott is your guy. He knows this stuff. So he will definitely connect with you and answer any questions that you have. And I know I need to educate myself more on oils, and I want to implement more, especially on the other things that you mentioned, especially when it comes to the cleaning and the and not just, you know, with aromatherapy.
Mm-hmm. If you do the cleaning thing, I highly advise you guys, if you have a family, husband, wife, and you have kids, it does not matter the age, please make it an event. When I say that, I say it in a kind, fun, and exciting way, is get them to search around the entire house and bring every cleaning solution you use to the kitchen table. Make it a thing, because what you're doing is you're creating it as a memory. It creates a moment. When that happens, that will always be stuck in your brain on why you're doing this.
Right.
And then when you go to do something, you're going to go, oh, remember that day we brought all the things down there? That was fun. It was exciting. It was silly. It was kind of stupid, but it was kind of fun. You're going to remember why you did that. And then you won't use those chemicals because there's a reason. It created a memory. Right? You need to do that. And you'll find you'll make that shift.
Yeah, I love that suggestion, because I already switched to Melaleuca, which has natural cleaning products, and that's one step. But I'm really interested in even going further, which is with the essential oils aspect. That way, it's like literally the most natural form of cleaner you could ever have.
Absolutely. You don't want any fillers. You don't want any synthetics.
Right.
And remember, there's tests that are out there that will show you that 95% of the other companies have these items in it. Right. Turn the bottle around, read the fine print. It's important. So you want to reduce that as much as you can.
Absolutely.
The cost is the same.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Right? So yeah, because one thing I noticed too, when people talk about like, oh, I can't make the transition because it's going to cost more and all this. And I'm like, but what is the cost of your health? You know, what is the cost? It's priceless.
It's not only that, is the cost of your health is one thing, is how much do you spend on your health in a year? Probably next to nothing. Right. But you'll buy 3 gallons of paint to paint your house 4 times. Right?
Priorities.
So, you know what I mean? So you're going to buy shampoo, you're going to buy conditioner, toothpaste, mouthwash. You're going to buy these things, shampoo, conditioner, makeup, mud masks, body scrubs. You're going to buy these things. Right. And you have all your cleaning solutions. You're buying them anyways.
Exactly.
Just buy one that is more potent, that's natural, that's going to give you therapeutic benefits and clean your house better. It's better for the environment, better for you, and it's cheaper.
Right. It's a no-brainer.
Get to that headspace. It's a no-brainer. Like it's just the way it is. You need to get to that stage. That's all.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this has been so great. And I can't wait for people to hear this episode and check out all the links to your things. So tell our listeners on where they can find you online if they want to connect with you and learn more.
For sure. Facebook is probably the easiest, just Scott Manduck. I do have an older website, which it's actually in the midst of being redone literally this week. Is you can go to just dooilstribe.com. It's a lot of the essential oil stuff. If you want the EMF frequency stuff, you can look at essentialvibes.com. And don't forget the coupon code ScottPodcast20 if you want to get 20% off there. Just reach out to me. I'm always available to help out. And I'll offer a free 30-minute consult with anybody on your show if they want.
Perfect. I'm definitely going to refer everyone to you. That way they can get all this information and transform their households, their health, and just everything with their family. So thank you all so much again. And don't forget, we have our Podcast Insiders group, so you can always connect with our guests there. And we are here to help with anything related to wellness. We just want to help everyone out there. So thank you all again for listening, and we'll catch you all next time. Thank you again, Scott.
Thanks, guys. Bye now.
Thank you.